when I was at the bureau, when we were dealing in Bitcoin, like if a wallet had like 0.1 in it, you just like throw the, get rid of it. It was worth like a penny. 0.1 now is a lot of fucking money. I don't know what it is. It's like 10 grand now.
What's a whole Bitcoin cost now?
40. We're at 40. This morning, 42. And it was peaked at 69. And this is what's scary about Bitcoin. And I tell this to Bob Kelly when I did a show with him out in Jim Thorpe, PA, and we were having this discussion, is everybody feels like they're late to Bitcoin. That's the nature of it. When I started mining Bitcoin at $100, I was convinced I'd missed the boat. I just did it because I wanted to learn, and I was like, whatever. If I can break even, then it doesn't cost me anything. Everybody thinks that they missed the boat. When Bitcoin hit $1, I'll show you posts on the internet that people are like, oh, I fucking blew it. I sold them. All I have is 700 Bitcoin left. There's a post of a guy like that. All I have is 700. I'm such an idiot. 700 Bitcoin. You're like a gazillionaire, so everybody feels that way. So I got another buddy into Bitcoin years ago, and I put 4 miners in his house. And I said, you're not mining or buying Bitcoin for what the value is today. If you buy Bitcoin today, it's going to go up. It's going to go down. Buy it for at least 2 years in advance. Make yourself a commitment that you're not going to sell it for 2 years in advance, because 2 years is enough time to see the ebbs and flows of it. And you're going to look like a genius when it hits 100K, which is going to, I'm convinced, in the next 6 months. And you're going to look like a bum when it drops, when it retraces 30%. But if you hold it, it's called hodling, HODL, from a post years ago of a guy who was like, I'm not fucking selling my Bitcoin, I'm hodling. He misspelled it and it took off. If you hold your Bitcoin for 2 years, I tell everybody, there's been no 2-year stretch of time where anyone's owned Bitcoin and it's gone down in value. You can't find the 2-year niche of time where that's happened.
Right.
But the people that get into trouble are the people that overextend themselves, buy a bunch, and they're thinking
scared.
They're going to sell it in 3 months, and then they get scared or they go under and they sell at a loss. Mm-hmm. And those are called weak hands. We, jokingly, lettuce hands, right? Whereas diamond hands are the hands you want. Like the diamond hands are you buy it. And like for me, I've been through so many 30% retraces. Like I'm not selling my Bitcoin. I know the technology. I know what it is. I've seen where we're going as a civilization, and it's Bitcoin. And you're not going to be able to fucking, I don't care if it hits $10,000. I'm not selling it because I know that in my lifetime, it's going to hit $1 million. It's going to hit 2 million of Bitcoin. I know that in my lifetime, it's going to happen.
So you think that if I was to buy a Bitcoin today for 42K and
buy a part of one, you don't have to buy a whole one.
Right. But for example,
for math purposes,
for math purposes, I buy 42K today. I buy a Bitcoin and it goes up to 200 tomorrow. You're saying to stay, don't get out, stay.
Well, no. So I would say to anybody at certain points, it's okay to take some money off the table.
Sure.
Like take 50K out, pay some bills, get those braces for your kid with the snaggletooth.
Yeah.
I don't, and it's all about what you can,
I'm already paying for braces, but go ahead.
I have a friend, I won't mention name, but I have someone very close to me who got into it kind of later and knew that I was into it for a while. And eventually was like, fucking, I'm getting into it. And they started to do the trading route. Like I'm going to sell high and buy low. And they're slowly coming to the realization that timing the market is so difficult that it's actually less stress and just as profitable just to sit on it. And so if it hits a certain point and you're like, I'm going to take a little bit of my initial investment out. Great. Now you take that 50K out. Everything's gravy now. You've just paid for your initial investment, and you could lose all of it tomorrow. And you didn't lose a dime because that was all profit. Let it go. The big questions are things like regulation and how it's going to how it presents a threat to the federal government, and it does to fiat currency. It does. They're just starting to understand that. When I used to give speeches on this at the bureau, I used to meet with like banks and shit as an FBI agent. They'd laugh at me. I'd be talking about Bitcoin, and they're like, "Oh, it's imaginary money." Now all the fucking banks want in. They all want in on this, one way or the other. They're selling it. They're taking it. They're incorporating it. And as that institutional money comes into it, when you find out that it's not just Tesla and SpaceX and that it's Walmart that's putting it on their balance sheet and it's Amazon and it's Google, that's when the next bull run's going to happen.